Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite cash game plays for this Week 2 NFL DraftKings main slate. What we're going to do here today is go position by position and then wrap it up with a low-priced option that's currently catching my eye. With that being said, let's dive right into it. Alright, so we're going to kick things off here in the spreadsheet like we always do. In the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We don't have as many projected high-scoring games this week as we did in Week 1, but still a handful of games here that could turn into a shootout. And then I got the highest implied team totals listed behind me there, and you can kind of use that as a reference point as I'm going through some of my favorite plays here for today. Now again, what we'll do is we'll go position by position and then wrap it up with a low-priced option there or a sub 4K wide receiver play. With that being said, let's dive into the quarterbacks here, and I guess the first thing you probably notice is I don't have Lamar listed as a core cash quarterback here. I got him listed as an honorable mention, and I'll explain it really quickly. Lamar has not been very good against the blitz over the past couple of seasons. In fact, I'm looking at the stats right now. He's ranked 34th of 39 qualified quarterbacks against the blitz over the past 2 seasons, and no team has blitzed more than the Miami Dolphins dating back to last year. So that's really the cause for this. You know, that rushing upside still keeps him in play, and I guess I do prefer him over Kyler Murray in cash, but I really like where Matt Stafford and Derek Carr are this week. First and foremost, really like their price. I know they weren't at their best in Week 1, but this is a great bounce back spot for both of these guys. You got Matt Stafford playing at home against the Atlanta Falcons, and Derek Carr playing at home as well against the Arizona Cardinals, who just got decimated by that Kansas City Chiefs offense last week. On top of that, you can see here both the Raiders and Rams are leading this slate with the highest implied team totals, so they're going to be putting up points here. You know, and these are two teams that want to get their passing games going as well. We really didn't see that in Week 1, so I like the price here. Again, I'm going for 3x value. That means Matt Stafford needs 18.9 DraftKings points, and Carr here needs 18.6. I think both of those guys can definitely get there, especially considering the matchups at home. And then I got Trey Lance there as well. I certainly prefer Derek Carr and Matt Stafford. I know those guys don't bring the rushing upside, and I've preached that in cash lineups in the past, but their prices are hard to ignore. Those are value plays. Trey Lance does bring that rushing upside, but I understand there's probably a lot of people who are off of this play here, and I get it. He was not at his best in Week 1, but that game might as well have been played in SeaWorld. The conditions in Chicago were just egregious. The field was horrible, so you're not going to get your best out of a guy like this in a situation like that. It's a much better situation this week against the Seattle Seahawks here. I think we're going to see him using his rushing upside a little bit more and completing some of those deep passes. Like I said, I prefer Stafford and Carr, but if I need the savings, I don't mind Trey Lance. And I don't mind Daniel Jones either. You can hear the hesitation in my voice there. There's a lot of people talking him up at that price of 5.1K. Look, we need 15.3 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. He had 18 last week on the road against Tennessee. A decent matchup at home here this week against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I definitely think he can get there, but I prefer Saquon Barkley, and we're going to get into the running backs next. And kicking off the running backs here is Saquon Barkley, and again, you might be going, okay, no Jonathan Taylor, no Christian McCaffrey. I got him as honorable mentions, and look, if you play either one of those guys in your cash lineup, no, that's not a bad play whatsoever. I just foresee myself spending up for Devontae Adams this week, and so I don't think I'm going to be able to make it work with those guys considering how expensive they are, and I really like the value that we do get here with Barkley, Mixon, and Fournette. So these are kind of my 3 favorite running back plays due to their price and matchup. But again, if you play Jonathan Taylor and CMC, no, that's not a bad play. With that said, though, I really do like Barkley here. He smashed in Week 1 on the road against Tennessee. He was involved in both the running game and the passing game, played 83% of the snaps, and had 2 really long runs. I believe one was for 66 yards, the other one was for 33, but he looked like the old Saquon Barkley, the guy that we watched his rookie season. So $7,300 here, need about 21.9 DraftKings points. He had 36 last week, and again, a good matchup at home against Carolina. I like going back to him here. Another guy who was used a lot last week was Joe Mixon. I mean, that game in general, I think Cincinnati ran 100 offensive plays. Mixon played 76 of those plays and was used both in the rushing and passing game. And I love the game script here this week against the Dallas Cowboys. I foresee Cincinnati getting out to a lead and then running the clock out in the second half. And look, game script is nice here against the Cowboys as well, who allowed 127 rushing yards in week 1 to Leonard Fournette. Joe Mixon is just as talented, if not more talented, than Lenny. I think he has a good game here as well. And speaking of Lenny, I like him as well here this week. He is listed as questionable, so do keep an eye on that, but it seems like everybody on the Buccaneers is listed as questionable right now. I do foresee him playing, and he played a lot in week 1 against Dallas. Like I said, he had a really nice game there and played 76% of the offensive snaps. Wasn't as involved in the passing game as much as I would have liked for him to be, but it could very well just be an outlier. That is something he really succeeded with all of last season, so I think he'll still be involved here going forward. And I like the price at $6,700 as well against the New Orleans Saints, who allowed 120 rushing yards to Cordarrelle Patterson last week. I by all means think Lenny can do that and probably find the end zone in this matchup as well. And then I got those honorable mentions there. Again, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. If you put him in your cash lineup, I have no issue with that. Jonathan Taylor smashed last week and probably going to do that here this week against the Jags. Christian McCaffrey was not at his best last week. I thought he would have been more involved in the offense in terms of seeing more targets and rushing attempts, that is, but it very well just kind of could have been a week 1 thing with Baker Mayfield trying to figure some things out, and he does have a good matchup here this week against the New York Giants. I really like him in tournaments, especially if people are going to be off of him, but again, very expensive to get in your cash lineup. Darrell Henderson is a really interesting one for me. I don't know how to judge that backfield. If we go off of last week's stats, he looks like a smash play here at $5,700 in a good matchup at home against the Atlanta Falcons. But yeah, Sean McVay saying this week that they're going to get Cam Akers more involved. I don't know if I can trust that or not, so I'm hoping we can get an official word on this, but I highly doubt we will. But yeah, if you want to roll with the stats from last week, Henderson does look really nice at that price. And then Jeff Wilson, no Eli Mitchell for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Got that knee injury in week 1 against Chicago. Wilson isn't as great as Eli Mitchell, but should see 12 to 15 plus rushing attempts in this game against Seattle. And Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon both had a decent night on Monday night against that defense. Plus, they don't have Jamal Adams going forward either. So Jeff Wilson, $5,100. I certainly don't mind that play. Now, folks, if you could take 10 seconds here to like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got a lot of football content coming your way this year, and for you hockey people, I got a lot of NHL content coming as well. We're just a few weeks out from puck drop, so appreciate you all. Let's get into these wide receivers. We then got the wide receivers there, and I kind of mentioned this already. Would love to play Cooper Kupp here this week. Could even stack him up with Matt Stafford, but I do like the savings we get here with Davante Adams. $1,300 between the two players. For two guys who are probably going to get very similar volume, Davante Adams saw 17 targets last week. Now, I don't bank on him doing that again here this week, but 10 plus, yeah, he's probably locked into that. Again, in a great matchup here against Arizona, who was just shredded by that Kansas City offense last week. Davante Adams is probably still the best wide receiver in the NFL. I know Justin Jefferson is creeping up there, but Adams can win any matchup in this league, especially against that secondary for the Cardinals, so I like him at that price at $8,600. Next is Michael Pittman Jr. there of the Indianapolis Colts, who had a great week 1 against the Houston Texans. Clearly the #1 wide receiver in this offense, and I don't even think that was ever up for debate, but I know a lot of people were kind of scared, thought he was ranked a little too high heading into this season. I think he put those worries to bed in week 1. He saw 13 targets against Houston, just smashed his value, and I think he can do the same here at this price of $6,700 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So yeah, price did go up, but I still like him in cash. And then on the other side of that game, I like Christian Kirk as well, and I actually think that's a game we're going to be able to target this weekend on the tournament side of things. I'll break some of that down in my Saturday morning video, but like Christian Kirk on the cash side of things as well, looked really good in his debut with his new team in the Jacksonville Jacksonville Jaguars, and I love the volume he was getting as well. Saw 12 targets in that game from Trevor Lawrence. He only caught 6 of those balls, but was third in the NFL last week with 128 air yards and finished the game with 117 receiving yards. Didn't score a touchdown and smashed his value at $5,200. Now, just like Michael Pittman Jr., he did get a price bump up this week, but I still think he's in play. And then a cheaper wide receiver option that I like here is Curtis Samuel of the Washington Commanders. I love the volume he got in week 1, 11 targets and 4 carries. 15 opportunities for a guy priced at $4,600 is ridiculous. Now, I'm not banking on him to get 15 again here this week, but let's say he gets 7 catches for 50 yards. That's 12 DraftKings points. Not technically meeting the 3x value that we need, but he's certainly capable of getting there, like we saw just last week where he racked up 21 DraftKings points. So I still like the price here. He doesn't have a large ADOT, average depth of target. It's very low, actually, but that's okay, because if a lot of targets are going to go his way, he could be a PPR monster. Okay, monster might be a stretch, but if he's getting that volume at $4,600, I really do like it. And then I got those honorable mentions listed there as well. Again, I don't need to convince anybody to play Cooper Kupp. He's obviously very expensive, but a great matchup here at home against the Atlanta Falcons. If you can fit him in, by all means, the more power to you. I just prefer the $1,300 in savings that I get with Devontae Adams. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he's in play as well at $6,500 for the Detroit Lions. Saw 12 targets last week, and clearly the #1 wide receiver in that offense. So, yeah, those are my honorable mentions and wide receivers that I like. Let's move on to the tight ends. And I just don't foresee myself spending up at the tight end position here in my cash lineup this week. Tournaments, I mentioned it last week, I never have any issue spending up at the tight end position. But cash, I typically spend down unless Travis Kelce's like $6,000, then you're probably just jamming him in. But Zach Ertz, Pat Freiermuth, Tyler Higbee, Albert, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that last name. I think all of these guys are in play here. If you want to go with the bare minimum price or damn near bare minimum and punt at the position, I don't mind Granson here of the Indianapolis Colts. But Ertz did practice in full here on Thursday. Didn't do that at all any of last week. And with no DeAndre Hopkins or Rondale Moore here in week 2, Ertz should be the #2 pass catcher in this offense behind Hollywood Brown. And I do like the matchup against the Raiders. Now, I love the volume we saw with Freiermuth and Higbee in week 1. In fact, they were the only 2 tight ends in week 1 to have 10+ targets. It's probably not a trend we're going to see going forward, but needless to say, the volume was there early and often, and I'm kind of okay riding that out here in week 2, especially at these prices. Freiermuth's got a little tougher matchup at home against the Patriots compared to Higbee here, playing at home against Atlanta, but I think both these guys are fine at their price. You know, Freiermuth is only in year 2. I really like the ceiling for this guy, so I think I prefer him over Higbee, but if you need that $200 in savings, I certainly don't mind Higbee either. And then if you really need to save some money here in the 3K range, Albert of the Denver Broncos, I think he's in play as well. You can see there in the notes, played about 67% of the offensive snaps and saw 6 targets in week 1, and I do like the matchup at home here this week against the Houston Texans. Now, just want to take a quick minute to talk about one of the sponsors on this channel, Lucra. If you have not downloaded Lucra, it is completely free to get started. I'm actually going to throw a QR code up on the screen here right now. You can scan this with your phone. It's going to download the app, and once it does that, it's going to give you my referral code, which is GRIFF, GRIFF, and give you $25 in free play money. Now, you can use that free play money to compete against anybody, friends, family, or someone random, and if you win those contests, you'll actually see that free play money convert to real cash. So if you win enough of your contests with that free play money, you might legit never have to deposit a single dollar on Lucra. You can just build a bankroll from there. So again, I'll throw that QR code up on the screen one more time. You can scan this with your phone here. It'll download the app, include my referral code GRIFF, GRIFF, and give you that $25 in free play money. And then when it comes to the defense here this week, I'm going to keep it really simple, not going to complicate things here. Cincinnati Bengals are the 3rd cheapest defense on this main slate, playing against backup quarterback for the Cowboys in Cooper Rush. So I'm not going to overthink that there. If Cooper Rush beats me, I guess so be it. And then to wrap up the video here, I got a low-priced option or sub 4K forward play. Wow, Griff. NHL has not started yet. Sub 4K wide receiver play. For those of you who have watched my NHL videos in the past, you know that was probably bound to happen. We're still a month out, though, from hockey. So, yes, we're talking football here. Greg Dortch of the Arizona Cardinals. I like him at this price here, $3,500 for a low-priced wide receiver option. Noah Brown of the Dallas Cowboys at $3,800 also stuck out to me. But considering that Rondale Moore is not going to play for Arizona again this week, I like going back to Dortch here. Played 90% of the snaps in week 1, primarily in the slot with Rondale Moore out, and he led all the Cardinals wide receivers in targets with 7 and receiving yards with 63. Finished the game with 13.3 DraftKings points, and so Rondale Moore is out again this week. Dortch should have a very similar role, and I do like the matchup here against the Raiders. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I got another video coming out on Saturday morning, so make sure you stay tuned for that, breaking down some of my favorite GPP plays for this week 2 main slate. In the meantime, everyone, let's have a great Friday night here and a great weekend at that. Let's win some money here in week 2. I'm out of here.